How's it going, YouTube? I'm Alex with KCB Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about tips on starting Civilization 3, the options and settings you're going to want to pick if you're just beginning. First thing you're going to want to do is click New Game. Okay, then it's going to ask you all these things about how the map is going to be laid out. It's going to ask you the world size, barbarians, which are, like it says, barbarians. It's going to ask you the coverage of the land compared to the water, climate, temperature, and age, which we're going to go through all this. We'll start out with the world size. I always choose either a large world size or huge, just to the fact that it keeps your enemies farther away from you and gives you more time to prepare in case you do end up in a war. And the only downfall to that, it takes a lot longer to come in contact with other countries, and you can't see as much of the land that they own when you come in contact with them. And give or take, it takes the barbarians longer to find you, which sometimes is a good thing. But the barbarians in this game, you'll learn, are stupid. They are nothing like warriors from other countries. They're easy to defeat, and they actually benefit you a lot by killing them, because it upgrades your warriors, and most of the time you get something else from killing them and taking over their villages. So I like to keep it on either large or huge. Barbarians, like I said, they're easy to kill, so I like to keep it on roaming, so that way they come for you and you don't have to look for them as much. And their cities aren't as, or their villages I should say, are not guarded as well, or at all. So I like to keep it on roaming. Again, downfall, they're coming toward your cities. Not that big of a deal until you get farther in the game and you move into areas that aren't so civilized, that don't have civilizations on them from other countries and yours. That's when the barbarians are a little tougher, but still they're not that difficult. Okay, the next is the land mass and water coverage. We have Pangea, continents, and whatever that is, it's just a bunch of islands. I like to pick Pangea because it's easier to come in contact with countries and you don't need boats as much. Again, another downfall, the countries can move across land as well, attack you, and it's just bad all around when it comes to war times, per se, somewhat. Climate, I never really pick too much of the climate. I just, basically to me, is whatever you want to look at longer. If you want to look at the green background longer, if you want to look at a brown and green background, or if you want to look at a brown. On Chieftain, which is what we're going to be playing on, what this tutorial's on, which is the easiest, climate doesn't really matter at all. Just like temperature, because you're just basically learning how to play the game on Chieftain. So we'll just pick wet, cool temperature. Actually, we'll go with warm. Alright, age does matter. If you, the older you go, 3 billion, a lot of mountains. A lot of mountains. And mountains take a long time to move around. And it's more usually a pain in the ass than it benefits you. So I always pick 5 billion, which is the flattest, because those mountains are a pain in the ass, to put it plain and simple. Okay, now we've got to where you pick your player and difficulty, your rivals, the rules to winning the game. Alright, when you're picking your civilization, basically you can pick whatever civilization you want, but note, if you say you pick America, the civilizations that are going to be around you will be civilizations most generally that are actually around that country. So like if you pick America, the Aztecs and the Iroquois will most generally be the first countries you'll come in contact with and the ones you'll have the most contact with. Another thing when picking a civilization, this is from my personal experiences, Egypt loves to go to war with people, and she's a bitch, in other words. She tries to bully you around the whole game, asks for stuff that's outrageous, and then if you don't give it to her, she generally goes to war with you. The only good thing about it is if you are wanting to go to war with other countries, she's generally the only country I've noticed that you can pick a military alliance with. Which is a good thing, or can be a bad thing. So if you wanted to play as her, I guess you could. Well, I mean you could, but I've just never really wanted to play as her. I always generally play as America, Rome, or Babylon. So we're just going to choose Babylon for now. Egypt will be near you. She will boss you around. Just give her what she wants starting out. And as your army builds, listen to your advisors. And then I would just go from there. Like I said, I've never actually had anyone win. In the rules it says allow domination, diplomatic, cultural, space race, conquest, victories. I've never actually won or had. The game just ends after so long, and usually it's just whoever's done the best throughout the game out of all the countries is generally the winner. I've never had the game stop and say a certain civilization won, though. I'm sure it happens, but it's just never happened to me. Your rivals, I never pick rivals just for the fact that they're always going to be pissed off at you, and I don't want to start a game out with someone automatically pissed off at me. So that's just why I don't pick rivals. After you start the actual game, it's going to give you a settler and a worker. The worker, he builds roads, irrigates, builds mines, clears forests. You actually do need them to bring resources into the city, so we're going to have him build road there for no reason. This little thing right there is a village. You can go into it, and it ended up being deserted anyway. Okay, so you build your city the first thing. I usually stay with this. Generally, I like to build my cities by water or by a lot of resources, due to the fact that you need resources throughout the game, and that's generally what'll win you the game in the end, or lose you the game. If you build a city in the middle of nowhere with no resources, the city will probably fail miserably. It'll take ungodly amounts of turns to complete something. Like right here it says warrior complete in 10 turns, and the city is growing every 10 turns because of the resources that are around. But most generally, when you start out, it'll let you build things fairly quick, so we're going to let that do that. Here your science advisor is one of the many advisors throughout the game. Okay, sorry about that. Had to edit something. But as I was saying, you have many advisors throughout the game. Military, cultural, science. The science advisor is going to ask you what you want to learn. I always generally like to pick something that has to do with military starting out, so I can be more advanced in the other civilizations earlier on. So I'm going to pick ironworking just for now. Oops, not the wheel. Actually, we'll pick warrior code. And you just, basically from this point, you're just going to want to build roads with your worker to the resources that you find. You can automate him, which is if you get a lot of workers, is what generally is the best thing to do, because then you don't have to move them and they know what's best for the city. They may do something that you missed and didn't think to do. But after your warrior's built, what you're going to want to do is just move him around, and don't move him too far from the cities until you get another warrior built, and then you're just going to want to fortify them on the city, so that way if it gets attacked or pillaged or anything, but generally I usually just start out exploring with the warrior. You're not going to get attacked by that many barbarians in 9 turns. And it's just a good idea to look around, figure out what's around you, figure out what direction you're wanting to move your city in, and just overall all I'm going to say is play smart. If you want to do good, don't attack every country that comes around. Trade with them. Okay, right here. I'm glad this came up. This is telling you right now what the ranking is right now. And right now we're the Forgotten Babylonians, because we haven't done shit, basically. I think I'm going to end this video here. I may make other videos of farther on throughout the game, things you should do. But just remember, starting the game, play smart, don't pick Egypt, and yeah, that's basically it.